Hello guys, Ryan back with another video. We have a really cool mouse. This is a magnesium alloy mouse that looks like Venom from Spider-Man. Like this thing is a really coolly designed mouse essentially. Like I feel like the thing that a lot of people are gonna enjoy about this thing is definitely the design. It looks just very unique, very different from everything else on the market. And it's also made of magnesium. It has kind of 8K polling, so it has high tier specs. It also has the ability to kind of change stuff without software, so it has web-based software. So it has a lot of performance aspects about this mouse, but it also just has, you know, the cool looks. And I feel like that's pretty much the thing that's going to stand out of this mouse from the crowd. And we'll talk about how much it weighs and the performance and see how that also measures up against another magnesium mouse. This is the Beast X. This one also has holes, magnesium, lightweight. And then we also have some other holy mouse like the Final mouse to compare it to. And then we have some more traditional brands like Razer and Logitech as well to kind of compare to, and kind of the size and everything, how it feels. So we'll take a look at all of that and see, you know, which one you guys like. The name of this mouse is actually the Mercury X Pro by Gravastar. They're basically a brand that's known to make like space type accessories and stuff like that. I think this is their latest iteration of that. So let's first jump into this mouse. So this thing has a completely magnesium build, but it actually has RGB. I think a lot of other companies kind of forego the kind of RGB for lightweight savings essentially, right? So this mouse has no RGB. This one does, but the other difference between these mouses is actually that this one actually has a cover right here and this one does not. So I feel like this cover is actually really different from a lot of like mouses that have holes in it, because essentially it protects your internals from getting dust and like water damage essentially. So if you're a sweaty gamer and you're drinking your drinks next to your desk and you accidentally spill, I have done this many times on both my keyboards and my mouse, and you know, this will actually be protected. This one will not be, and it will pretty much get risk dying. Of course, this one actually does have, you know, no cover for the side buttons, so the side buttons will still be exposed, but the rest of it is not, which is kind of an interesting aspect. Now, because of the kind of RGB, I do think it weighs a little bit more. I think it also has a bigger battery, honestly. And the mouse itself is also bigger than the Beast X over here. So overall, the weight of the Gravastar is going to be a little bit more heavy. So on the scale, the Gravastar, if you put it on there, it's about 52 grams. The Beast X with the smaller size and optimization of no RGB and all that stuff and smaller battery results in it being 39 grams, which is pretty lightweight. Then we have something like a traditional plastic mouse with no RGB, none of those aspects, and it's just, you know, plastic. It's 55 grams from Razer. This is the Viper V3 Pro, and so you can see that there's definitely some weight savings with the magnesium and the kind of the shell. And then of course we have, you know, just like a carbon fiber composite mouse that's like 37 grams. And then we have like a really old school Logitech that was like one of the first gaming mouse ever, is 81 grams. So the kind of comparison of just, you know, the weight and the Gravastar. So it's definitely lighter weight than traditional kind of plastic mouses for sure. And the other thing that I kind of noticed is that, you know, the holes are the thing that, you know, is the defining feature. I feel like between these mouses. Obviously, this one has a lot more slope and a lot more kind of design. This one is a little bit more kind of like a flatter design right here. And it just feels like a mouse with holes, right? While this one, it does, because of the grooves it has, it does feel a little bit more, I guess, obstructive or different in a sense of like, you know, this kind of pops out a little bit more when I was kind of initially using it. After getting used to it, honestly, I don't really feel it as much, but you know, I think for a mouse like this, these holes will be pretty much a difference breaker for a lot of people. If you like the holes or don't mind the holes or not, I think that's definitely going to be something that you can feel, especially with them having these like two bars right here. I feel like for me, the side holes right here don't bother me at all. I mean, the Beast X, I used this for a long time as well, and this one never bothered me. So honestly, I'm fine with those. They also come with, you know, side grips and stuff like that if you wanted to use those and kind of cover up the holes. Now, when it comes to kind of feet, they're all kind of pretty similar. They use these small dot feet. The smaller the feet, honestly, the kind of more the pad, if your pad is like squishier, it'll sink in more. And I mean, I feel like these are pretty wide. They're not really dot skate, so they don't have that issue as much. But yeah, I don't really use like really soft, mushy pads anyways. Most of my pads are pretty firm because I don't really like pushing into my mouse pad. But I think that's definitely one thing to consider. Now, another thing is if you kind of look at the bottom of these mouses, you can see that this actually has ability to use Bluetooth. So you get added like features on that also adds the weight, but also gives you more functionality because not everyone wants to use, the wireless 8K polling, and they want to be able to use Bluetooth and connect to multiple devices. Then this one actually does have that extra ability. That does make this mouse, like I said, a little bit heavier, but it's also a little bit more versatile, a little bit more usable. Now, how does this mouse kind of feel in the hand and all the clicks, right? So honestly, of all the mouses, these are a lot bigger than the traditional like the Magnesium mouses. Most of these mouses are small right here. This is more of like the medium slash, I would say like medium large type of mouse that you kind of get from like Logitech and Razer. They're more of a universal design. They're also taller, and so they fit in your hand a lot more, and they're also a lot longer. So like I can't even get to the front of this mouse versus like on something like this, like my hand easily reaches it, versus like on something like the Logitech as well, my hand is only like up there at the front. So if you take a closer look at the kind of Mercury Pro X, you can see that it's a lot taller of a mouse, right? So that's why I said this mouse is more reminiscent of something like for me personally, it reminds me more like the Logitech G Pro X super light shape. It's taller, it's more form-fitting for my hand. And then, these mouses are, like I said, a little smaller. And then even the side profile, if you kind of take a look at it, like where the hump is, it's kind of like the front is kind of sloped back, but there's a lot more kind of palm support right here, which is very similar to like the Logitech. You get a lot more palm support and it's a little bit taller, versus something like the Beast X is also kind of similar, but it's just a lot shorter. And then, if you compare it to like the Viper, I would say it's kind of similar to the Viper, but it doesn't feel like it is as back, like hump heavy, I guess, as the Viper. I feel like the Viper has just a lot more, lack of a better word, butt, I guess, or less butt rack here. But I guess where they kind of rise in the hump, they're kind of similar, but you get a little bit more kind of support back here from the Gravastar. So I think it's a little bit more palm fitting. This one's like less intrusive, I guess, in a way, but this one gives you a little bit more support in the palm. The mouse also comes with this alien dongle that actually shines too with RGB. So you're really just double downing on this kind of Venom aesthetic. Obviously, they probably don't want to pay, Marvel for Venom rights, but this is honestly what it looks like to me. So then let's do a little bit of a click test, right? So we can see the mouse one. So overall, honestly, for the clicks, I find these two front clicks, they're using Omron, I guess, white switches. They're a little bit more, I guess, higher actuation force than what I'm used to on something like the Beast X. But that's the main difference I noticed, and maybe just slightly more post-travel, I meant. And then, honestly, I really like the side buttons. These side buttons are just really fast. They snap really quickly, they're very tactile, and they rebound really fast. So I think they did a really awesome job on the side buttons. They're honestly really, really good. And then for the scroll wheel, the type of feeling you get from the scroll wheel is it's kind of like, it's not the very notchy. You feel each individual notch, but it's not too much, right? It's still a pretty fast and really easy to scroll type of wheel. Unlike these other designs that are much more kind of slower, bigger notches, this one is a little bit smaller, smoother notch. So overall, it's a pretty easy to move kind of scroll wheel. And then, the overall clicking is fine. It doesn't really feel any different from most mouses. But yeah, let's just talk about performance. So like, how does it perform in game, right? So I'm playing a lot of Marvel Rivals. Honestly, I haven't been playing as much Valorant, but I did jump in Valorant because it's probably the only game that actually plays 8K really well, versus Marvel Rivals because it's on like Unreal Engine. Your 8K just kind of stutters. Same with like Fortnite, so you can't really use 8K in those games, but this thing does have 8K polling, and you can actually set it to kind of high performance mode. So it's honestly very responsive. I really do enjoy it. It's very kind of fast and snappy. I didn't really have any issues with connection or dropping, so I think the 8K is honestly really good. And because it has a bigger battery than most mouses, the battery life actually lasts a lot longer too with the 8K, so I think that's pretty nice. But I started using a lot more 4K because I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals. I was playing, My favorite character is Star-Lord in that game. I've been playing Venom just because of this mouse. I was like, I might as well play some games with Venom with the Venom mouse, honestly. But really, I find it pretty much really easy to track, very easy to glide. I think the feet are fine for me. I don't really have any issues with that. Honestly, the biggest thing about this mouse, I think, is really just kind of if you like the hole on the back or not, and if you're used to it. But besides that, they actually have, like I said, really high kind of tier performance. You have the web-based software, you have 8K, you have the Magnesium. It feels like honestly super sturdy. Like I can like push on this mouse and it's like, I mean, some people would say it's rock solid. But yeah, the other thing I actually like about this mouse too is like for a lot of these kind of Magnesium mouses, they're actually way sturdier than plastic mouses. They don't really creak. And I think it has to do with kind of how this one is also made. If you kind of look, the whole entire kind of shell from the top to the side is all kind of machined out of just like one piece of like Magnesium. So it gives it a very sturdy structure. The Beast X actually does the same thing with its structure, but the also famous Final mouse is not. This thing is basically made of like 3 parts. It has the back part and then the white side. Obviously it's a different color in this side. And this mouse, you know, creaks a lot more when you push into it and stuff like that. And it flexes a lot more versus a Magnesium mouse that's like the whole entire sides and the top shell being machined in one piece. It really gives it a lot more sturdiness. So for a lightweight mouse, this thing is honestly very, very sturdy. Like I don't think you could ever break this unless you like actually threw it against the wall or something, tried or stepped on it really, really hard. This thing is honestly feels really nice and premium and sturdy in the hand. And that's one thing I like about it a lot. But yeah, I mean, going back to like performance, honestly, like between this 8K, and these, like honestly, they're all really fast. They're almost imperceptible, to be honest. They're that fast. They're very reactive. So I think the Gravastar did a great job with the polling rate. It also has, you know, the 3950. So it has a, you know, one of the newest sensors that's mass market that isn't owned by Razer, while Razer does have, you know, the best sensors reserved for them because they got the money to pay for it. But yeah, in conclusion, I think the Mercury Pro X is honestly, it is a performance design mouse. However, it does have some nice added creature comforts is what I would say. So if you like your RGB, the protection as well of your internals, even though it has a hole, as well as it still being a pretty lightweight mouse, it's still kind of lighter than kind of Razer's, I guess, lightest mainstream mouse. And then the other thing that it also has is the Bluetooth capability, right? So it has all these kind of added features, bigger battery that makes a lot of, I guess, creature comforts a little bit better. It's not really foregoing everything kind of like this Beast X, which is, you know, has really poor battery life. It's very lightweight, it's very small. It might not fit everyone's hand sizes. So this one, like I said, is a little bit bigger too, so it fits your hand. So yeah, I think this thing has, you know, aspects of, you know, high performance as well as design. I think most people honestly are gonna buy this because it looks like Venom, it looks really cool, and it also performs well. So if you're into that, I think you will like the Gravastar, and I recommend those type of people to go for this mouse. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do have a few more mouse videos coming. I think the new mouse kind of got revealed today, so I can kind of tell you guys about that one too. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.